All right, Braden, I've got your lists program here, so let's take a look at it. Let me give you some feedback. Here's the template. I've already kind of looked at your program. I thought you didn't put your name, date, description of the program. That should be a comments, a hashtag at the top in the program. And let's see, you did create a list of your five. Well, actually, you did 8 favorite things. I guess that's fine. Ask the user what their favorite is in your category. You actually asked for their top 5, so you went over and above on that. But I'll show you where the problem was with that. Print a message, let them know if their favorite matches. You didn't print your entire list. In fact, you actually did a print statement and typed those 5 things. So if your list changed, you'd have to change other code in your program. So that's not printed the way a list should be printed. And they're not numbered. You didn't number each item. So let's look here. Question for user, 5 favorites of the programmer. Programmer and user the same favorites. Favorite of the user, question parents, favorite. Okay. And here's your code. And well, you missed one question because it pushed it to the next page, I guess. So I'm not gonna count off on that this time. But there's always 4 questions, by the way. I first made the program, wasn't asking the questions, so I forgot to insert the main. Okay, right. Yeah, you got to put the main down at the bottom. So, all right, I've already copied and pasted your program into idle right here. So let's take a look at it. There's your favorite items, and like I say, you got 8 of them, and then you have 5 input statements. So after those 5 input statements, you got match found. So you set it to false first. That's good. Then you did a for loop. And if item lower equals, so you're saying it's all lowercase in case they capitalize. I got that. If their item equals this, print your favorite items on the list and change match found to be true. And then you put a break in there, which, so you're doing this item in here. And this is interesting because your favorite item, like it's going to print the item lower, because we'll see we'll show you what that does, because I think you've got that wrong on here. If match found, print we have some of the same favorite items, and print here's my top favorite, and print 5. So this should be your whole list, though, according to the template. Print your entire list, and since your list is longer than 5. But here's what I want to run it and show you where there's a problem. You got pizza, burgers, taco, sushi, pasta, Mexican food, Chinese food, fast food. So I run the program, and let's say, what's your 5 favorite food items? Pizza. I'm going to say pizza. All right, and then I'm going to say pizza again, and then I'm going to say pizza again, and then I'm going to say burgers, and now I'm going to say mac and cheese for item 5. Your program didn't do anything. I'm done. Now, if I change the order, I'm going to put mac and cheese first. Then I say pizza, burgers, pizza, pizza. Now look, it does print something. Your favorite item is on the list, and it actually is the word item. We have the same favorite item. Here are my top 5 favorite items. But notice I had to match something on the last attempt before it would print anything. So what's going on? Well, for one thing, when I input my first item, you save it as user favorite. And then when I put in my second item, it deletes what I had in there and now saves this as user favorite. And then when I put the third item, it'll delete what I put in here and save that as the user favorite now. Oh, and then when I input the next item, it'll delete that one and make that my user favorite. And then finally, the 5th one, it'll delete that. And so the only one that it saves is the last one, because they all have the exact same name. You're using the exact same space, the same variable to save all 5 things. So it can only save what the last one entered is. All the others get overwritten. So if you're wanting to check all 5 of these, you're going to have to name them separately. User favorite 1, user favorite 2, user 3, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Because otherwise, it's not going to save them. It's going to save just the last time that something's entered there. So when you're checking, it's really only checking the very last item. Okay. And then it's printing actually, if this was supposed to be something different, I don't know why you have this squiggly item squiggly if you're just trying to say favorite item, but that doesn't print right. And the problem here, it only prints your list if there's a match found. If there's not, it doesn't, because this if statement, everything that's indented is part of the if. So these only work at the if. If you want it to print either way, these got to come back. If we unindent that, then if I run the program and I just enter crazy stuff, I'm just entering numbers. Nothing matched because I just entered numbers, but it still printed your list. But it's not numbered and it's not your entire list. So here, I'm going to take out top 5 just because we're going to print your whole list. Here are my favorite items. Let's change this. Take out this print statement because I don't want the print statement. I want to see what your list is. For loop in range, start at 0 and go the length of, what did you call your list? Favorite items. I'll just copy that. Copy whatever the length of favorite items is. That's how many times I want it to loop through. And then I want it to print as a string, because it's going to be a number, loop +1, and I'll show you why I do the +1 in a minute, plus, and then I'm going to put some space in there with that a little dash, and plus favorite, where I'll just paste that again, favorite items, loop, whatever loop number we're on. So let's print, and then I got to close my parentheses. Let's just print that. So again, it should print this regardless of whether I find a match. So I'm just going to enter numbers up here again just to get through the program. Oh, but look, here it prints your whole list. Here's my favorite items, and they're numbered. Number 1 is pizza. Number 2 is burgers. 3 tacos, 4, all the way down to number 8, because it's going to loop through whatever the length of your list is. So if you went and added more things or deleted from more things, we wouldn't have to change this line of code at all. It's fine. Otherwise, every time you change the length of that, you got to go change where you're printing it at. This does it automatically. And here's why I put the +1. If I don't have the +1 and I just print loop, I'm going to do it like this. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Well, that's how Python counts. It starts counting at 0. When we like to make lists, we don't start lists with 0. That's just not what commonly people do. So I'm just making that more user-friendly, making this something nicer to see by adding 1 when it prints it. Just add 1 to those numbers so it's 1 through 8 instead of 0 through 7. So few problems there. You're not checking to see if all their items on the list. You're only checking the last item, and you weren't printing your entire list because you got to do a loop to do that easily. And if that changes, you were having to go back and change more code. We want to make this as simple as possible. So if I add something else to the loop up here, mac and cheese. Now when I run the program, again, I'm going to enter nothing up here. It just automatically printed another thing on the list. Oh, man and cheese. I put man and cheese. Okay, mac and cheese. But yeah, if I change the list, I don't have to change anything down here. If I do make it your top 5 and I delete everything back after that, there's just 5. Run the program. There's my favorite items, and it only prints the top 5. So that's why we use these other commands instead of actually typing a print statement with your favorite items, because every time you change your list, you've got to go find everywhere else in the program that you did that and change those print statements. And this was a short program, but most of the time, if you're out in the commercial world or writing programs for yourself, it may end up a lot longer. So wanted to give you that feedback by video. It's a lot easier than typing that out for you, and I'll get this to you. So, all right, see you in class.